vision of what we wanted to do and then brought it to Tussey. We showed them a picture, but was beyond what we expected. It was more than the picture we wanted. The end result was better than what we wanted. And that was a big worry of ours, because I know what I want to do. It's because I do construction, and I know what I want to see, and trying to give my vision to somebody else and get what you want is hard to do. But when it all come together with the input of Tussey and me and my wife, and then working together through the project, just made things come together, and we actually got more out of it. In the beginning, you know, you see nothing like that, and it's all comes together slowly, so it's not like somebody can take a picture of it and say, it's gonna look like this in the end. Don't worry about it. And as far as working with everybody, everybody is very professional and open to suggestions and taking our vision. They worked with us along the way to do that. And everybody was very hardworking. From my experience of working in construction for 28 years, there's not a lot of people that I work with that I could say that they work as hard as us, or it's a pleasure working with, and have that same mindset to fulfill your obligations to the people as I felt with them. I didn't realize, even being in construction, how much was involved in building one till you actually see it go in, because there's so much more that you never see, but it's very important that you do it. You probably see 50% of what's really there. You know, you wonder sometimes, why are they doing this, or why are they doing that? And then at the end you're like, oh, that's why they did that. These things aren't made in a factory. How's the water going to come down here, you know? And how did they do that to make that water go that direction? It almost seems like that waterfall was there before anything else was there, and everything else was built around it. And that's when you know you've done something special. Stuff like this is hard for people sometimes to swallow as far as price, because it looks very nice and everybody wants it, but they don't realize what goes into it. We never realized how much is involved. Like at first we were kind of shocked and surprised of the cost of a project like this. You know, it's a long-term thing. You spend some of your hard-earned money to get a project done like this. Sometimes you don't realize what goes into it. I mean, it all looks nice and pretty and great, and you look at that and you think, well, that shouldn't be that much, but you don't realize there's as much behind what you see as what you're actually seeing. At first, we were kind of worried and thinking we're overspending, but in the end, we're very happy. The value of what we got and what we spent, we think we've got a good deal in the end. To me, a project like this, you should almost talk to somebody that did something of equal value to whatever you're trying to do, because that's the only way you ever get a true or a good opinion of whatever questions you're asking a past customer of theirs or something like that. Because if you're doing a $100,000 project and you ask somebody that done a $20,000 project, you know, there's a lot more that goes into a $100,000 project than it is a $20,000. And getting that opinion of somebody with the same level or the same kind of feature, then that's where you get a better opinion of it. The reason we chose Tussey was because of people that I had talked to. Like, we're in the construction industry, so I know people that are also in the construction industry, and I just started asking around. And the reason we kind of ended up staying with Tussey was because that name kept coming back up. And from people that I would hold as a good source or gave a good opinion of what they know about them and stuff like that. That was the reason why we kind of went with Tussey, because of their past experience with other people and their involvement with other people in the construction industry that know them. That's what I always look for. It's not always the price, because most people don't understand about construction or anything like that. There's a lot of ways to hide cost to make a project look a certain way, but long term the value will start to show itself down the road compared to something that you might pay 20, 30 or 40% less, and then it all looks the same in the end, but then a year or two later you start feeling the effects of, oh, that's why I paid 40% less or 30% less or whatever the cost it might be, you know. And me and my wife wanted somebody that had the same mindset that we have, because when we do a job for somebody, we want the people to be happy in the end and everything to be what they want or more. That's the kind of people that we wanted working for us, and we got it. What surprised me the most was just the way everybody worked together, because like I said, being into the construction industry, and I'm around a lot of subcontractors, around a lot of companies, and work around a lot of different people, and I don't work around a lot of people that everybody has that same mindset and organized, because a lot of companies out there might have a good foreman and then the rest of the guys are kind of lost. Or you might have one good guy and everybody's, you know, things get mixed up. But with Tussey, it just seemed like everybody had that same mindset and goal, and they all worked together and hard to get that done, and with no fighting about it. Or no, you know, you see in construction today there's a lot of harsh words and a lot of things that go on, and none of that was going on. Everybody kind of, if there was a problem, everybody worked together, got it done, and moved on and kept the project moving. You know, nothing was ever a lot of drama. There's always things that come up and there's always things that can happen, but it's how you handle the problem, and that's what I was surprised, and it was a pleasure dealing with them because of that. Not that there was major problems, but if there was, we didn't even know about it. And that's professionalism to me. A couple people that stopped by and looked, and they're like, I feel like I'm at a resort. You know, it's very relaxing with the water and you're hearing the water and stuff like that. It's just a very calming effect, you know. And that's one thing that we've got out of the project that never even thought about. The visual was one thing, but sitting here and listening to the water is a whole other effect. When you look at a project like this, normally it's cost, it's visual, this is what I want, but in the end, there's a lot of things that the sounds of the water, and I've had my wife's parents sit here, and that's the whole I mean, they love to look at it, but they just love the sound of it. And it's something that you get out of it that you never thought you would. Every person that's come up here is just completely in awe. They're like, I can't believe this is even here, you know, or, you know, we live in a small town, and they're just like, we never thought we would ever see anything like this in our town, you know. A funny comment that I get from all the men that show up here is, oh, I can't bring my wife here. There's a lot of things that you get out of it in the end that you didn't even plan for in the beginning. You know, there's things that, like with the sounds and how it kind of makes everything else, like, you know, with a nice pavilion and a nice fire pit and stuff like that, it wouldn't be all the same without the water feature. It's something that everybody that comes here looks, and the first thing they say is about the waterfall. And then it's like, oh yeah, everything else is nice, but that's the first wow factor, is the waterfall. As far as being a contractor for 28 years and then working alongside of Tussey, from every person I worked with was just a pleasure working with. I mean, everybody was very open-minded and easy to deal with, very concerned about what you was concerned about. You could tell that they worked their hardest to try to get you what you wanted. I can't say enough. I mean, it was just a pleasure working with everybody, and the professionalism and the hard work. I just enjoy working around people like that, because there's so many businesses today that don't seem to put that much effort to do that good of a job. Not so much just because you're trying to do a job for a customer, but you could see they're getting their own pleasure out of it. And you don't find that in most companies. A lot of companies, they're doing it because they're getting paid to do it, but they're not really enjoying what they're doing or into what they're doing. And I just found with working with Tussey that everybody just seemed like they was part of the company, like they had some stake in it. They were doing it for, you know, they weren't an employee of it. They were like had a ownership in it, you know, and that's the kind of mindset that you don't see in a lot of companies.